The galaxy had changed. Darwin pulsed with a light that could be seen across star systems, a sign that humanity and the Veyari had awakened something ancient and powerful. Yet this beacon had not gone unnoticed. Far beyond the system, fleets stirred in shadows, plotting and observing, while the Kashal prepared for a return that would be stronger than the first. Lieutenant Arik Vale stood on the central platform of the relic chamber, his hands brushing the glowing surface. The energy surged through him as if the planet itself were alive, and he felt something profound. A connection not just to Darwin but to humanity, to his ancestors, to the past and the future of his species. The Queen of the Veyari stood beside him, calm yet alert. Her eyes reflected the pulsing energy, and her expression carried a rare softness tempered by worry. "You have done well, Arik Vale," she said, "but now comes the true test. The Kashal will not be fooled by defenses or weapons. They will come to destroy us. We must lead and you must guide." Arik swallowed. The weight of her words pressed on him. He had led pilots in simulations, yes, but never an entire species in battle. Never in a war that could decide the fate of a galaxy. I don't know if I can," he admitted. The Queen laid a hand on his shoulder. "You are human. That is enough. Humans do what others cannot. They adapt, they think, they hope. Even now your enemies underestimate you. That is our advantage." The Kishal advanced within hours. The first signs appeared. Sensors detected the dark silhouettes of Kishal warships moving at terrifying speed. Their numbers were larger than the first attack and their weapons far deadlier. Their plan was clear: overwhelm Darwin and destroy anything connected to Arik. The Queen's fleet, though strong, was stretched thin. Veyari ships were powerful but fewer than the enemy's. Human ships arrived to support, their pilots tense but determined. Arik looked at the growing fleet with a mix of awe and anxiety. "This is it," he whispered. "All or nothing," the Queen nodded. "Do not think of it as war. Think of it as an answer. Your kind has been underestimated for too long. This is your moment, humanity's strength." As the Kashal fleets closed in, Arik extended his hands over the relic. Energy rippled outward, moving through Darwin's ruins like veins of light. Ancient constructs, towers, and platforms responded instantly, activating their long silent defenses. Human pilots followed his instructions, guided by instinct and trust. They maneuvered through debris, dodging enemy fire, while Darwin itself fired energy blasts that targeted the Kashal with uncanny precision. Arik marveled at what was happening. He had never imagined humans could make such a difference in an interstellar battle. Their ingenuity, courage, and adaptability had become the heart of Darwin's defense. The Queen's voice broke through the hum of energy. "See what your people can do. They are not weak. They are the answer." Arik realized she was right. Humans had always been underestimated, on Earth, in space, even in their own minds. And yet here they were, standing alongside the Veyari against a fearsome enemy. The turning point. The Kashal unleashed a massive wave of attacks. Their ships moved in perfect formation, striking with energy beams that could destroy Veyari and human ships alike. The Queen's fleet faltered, and human ships were pushed to the edge of their limits. Arik's hands moved faster across the relic. Energy surged through Darwin, forming shields and weapons that the Kashal could not anticipate. Towers rose from the ground, firing in synchronized waves, while energy pulses disrupted the enemy's formations. For the first time, the Kashal seemed to hesitate. Their precise coordination was thrown into chaos. Arik's instincts, combined with the relic's ancient power, gave humanity an advantage no one could have predicted. The Queen watched in awe. "You are more than a soldier. You are the spark that ignites hope." Arik felt the weight of responsibility, but also a deep sense of pride. Humanity, young and inexperienced in the galaxy, was proving that it belonged. Unity against darkness. As the battle raged, Arik realized that the key was not destruction, but coordination. Human ingenuity, combined with the Veyari's power and Darwin's ancient constructs, created a network of defense that the Kashal could not overcome. He issued instructions, not through words but through gestures and instinctive connection with the relic. Human pilots adapted instantly, predicting attacks, rerouting defenses, and exploiting weaknesses in the enemy's formations. Energy waves surged outward, creating barriers and traps. Kashal ships were immobilized or forced to retreat, One by one, the enemy's forces began to crumble under the combined efforts of humans, Veyari, and Darwin itself. The Queen's voice rang through the chamber. Auric Vale, you have shown them what humanity is. They will not underestimate your kind again. Auric felt a surge of confidence. He realized that the battle was not just about survival. It was about proving humanity's place in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as collaborators, as thinkers, as beings capable of great courage. The final strike. The Kashal launched a desperate final assault, sending their largest ships directly toward Darwin's core. Auric extended his hands, focusing all his energy into the relic. Light shot outward in a massive wave, striking the enemy fleet with precision and force. The energy did not destroy indiscriminately. It disabled engines, neutralized weapons, and immobilized the largest ships. The Kashal retreated in panic, unable to recover. Auric collapsed to his knees, exhausted. Darwin's energy pulsed gently now, as if the planet itself were breathing again. The Queen knelt beside him, her eyes reflecting the fading glow. You have done it, she said softly. Not through force alone, but through unity, through ingenuity, through courage. This is the true strength of humanity. Auric looked around. Human pilots cheered. The Veyari raised their banners, and Darwin's constructs returned to calm, as if acknowledging the victory. The aftermath. The galaxy would not forget this day. Humanity had proven itself, not through brute strength, but through thought, adaptability, and courage. Even distant civilizations sent messages of respect, intrigued by the human who had awakened an ancient power and defended Darwin against a centuries-old enemy. Auric stood with the Queen on the highest platform. The city ruins glowed faintly below them, a reminder of the past and of what had been lost. You were right, Auric said quietly. I am not special. But together we are. The Queen smiled, her silver eyes gentle. You are what we have waited for. Not alone, but as a symbol of hope. Humanity has returned, and the galaxy must see it. Auric nodded, finally understanding. The prophecy was not about one person's strength. It was about the strength humans carried in their hearts, their ability to act, to think, to inspire, and to unite. The Queen embraced him again, softly this time, not as a monarch to a subject, but as a partner who had waited for centuries. You have given my people hope, she whispered. Auric hugged her back, feeling the weight of the past, the present, and the future all at once. A new beginning far beyond Darwin. Stars twinkled like silent witnesses to humanity's resurgence. The Kashal had retreated, but the message was clear. Humans were no longer to be ignored. They were a force not of domination, but of ingenuity and courage. Auric Vale, once a simple pilot, now stood as a symbol. Not as a conqueror, not as a prophet, but as proof that humanity could rise to meet the galaxy's greatest challenges. The Queen looked at him, her expression both proud and wistful. The galaxy has changed, she said. And you, Auric Vale, have changed it. Auric nodded, gazing at the stars. Then let's make sure we use that change for good. The relic pulsed softly under his hands, a reminder that this was only the beginning. Humanity had returned, not to conquer, but to guide, to inspire, and to remind the galaxy of the power hidden in a species that many had underestimated for too long. And so, under the light of Darwin, with humans and Veyari standing side by side, the galaxy whispered a new phrase. The humans are back. The night sky over Earth looked calm and endless, but far beyond the stars familiar to human eyes, something was watching. Hidden in the darkness of space, a fleet of alien ships hovered silently. Their designs were sleek, metallic, and alive with faint blue light. These ships did not belong to any human nation. They belonged to the Galactic Empire, a coalition of dozens of advanced species that ruled large parts of the galaxy. For thousands of years, the Empire had spread across star systems, bringing worlds under its control. Some planets surrendered willingly, others were forced to obey. The Empire's council believed order and control were necessary for survival. But every few centuries, a new species would rise, showing dangerous independence, and the council always acted quickly to stop it before it could become a rival. Now, their attention had turned to Earth. The Empire's scout fleet had been observing the planet for several decades. At first, humans seemed simple, just another young species. Their technology was primitive compared to the Empire's. Their ships had barely reached their own moon, and their weapons were limited. But the longer the scouts observed, the more uneasy they became. Humans were different. Unlike many species, humans thrived in conflict. They were creative, unpredictable, and resilient. They fought wars among themselves, rebuilt, and advanced even faster. In just a few centuries, they had gone from wooden boats to nuclear power, from swords to satellites. Their rapid progress alarmed the Empire. In the heart of the flagship, the Imperial Overseer sat within the council chamber. Holograms of alien leaders surrounded him, each representing a different species within the Empire. Some had scales, some had feathers, others had shimmering skin that reflected light. Their voices echoed across the chamber. "Humans are dangerous," one counselor hissed. "They adapt too quickly. In war, that makes them unpredictable. They are still weak," another argued. "Their fleets are small, their weapons primitive. We could crush them before they take their first true step into the stars." The Overseer raised his clawed hand, silencing the debate. His dark eyes narrowed as he studied the holographic image of Earth. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. A planet full of life. A planet full of humans. "Dangerous or weak," he said slowly. "They cannot be ignored. If allowed to grow, they could challenge our empire within 1,000 years. Perhaps sooner. We must decide, enslave them or remove them." Silence filled the chamber. Then one by one the counselors gave their agreement. The decision was made. Earth would be targeted. Far below, on Earth itself, the people had no idea of the danger above. Life went on as usual. Cities buzzed with lights, airplanes cut through the sky, and scientists worked late in their observatories studying the stars. Among them was Dr. Elena Graves, an astrophysicist at the International Space Research Facility. Elena was brilliant, but she was also restless. Night after night, she studied radio signals and patterns in the sky, convinced that something unusual was happening. Many of her colleagues dismissed her concerns, saying the signals were just noise or natural space phenomena, but Elena had learned to trust her instincts. That evening, as she sat in front of her computer screen, she noticed something again. Irregular signals repeating in a sequence. They were faint but organized, too structured to be random. She adjusted her equipment, filtering out interference. The signal grew clearer. Her assistant, Raj Patel, leaned over her shoulder. "More static?" he asked with a tired smile. "No," Elena whispered. Her eyes narrowed as she focused. "This isn't static. This is something else. Look at the intervals. It's like a message repeating again and again." Raj frowned. "But who would send it? And why?" Elena didn't answer. Instead, her heart raced. She had studied enough to know this was no ordinary phenomenon. Something, or someone, was sending signals. At the same time, across the ocean, in a hidden defense center deep beneath the mountains, a different group of humans had already noticed unusual activity. The world's most powerful governments had their own secrets. Satellite operators reported strange shadows moving beyond the orbit of the moon, too organized, too deliberate. General Aaron Cole of the United Earth Defense Command stared at the classified reports. He was a veteran, his face hardened by years of service. He had seen many crises, but this was different. He tapped the table with his finger. "These aren't asteroids," he said firmly. "These are ships. Someone's out there." The room went silent. His officers shifted uncomfortably. Finally, one of them spoke. "Sir, if they are ships, then they are far more advanced than ours." Cole gave a grim nod. "Which means they've been watching us. Question is, why now?" Back in the depths of space, the Empire's scout commander prepared his report for the Council. The humans had not yet detected their full presence, but small leaks of information were spreading. It would not matter. Soon the fleet would act. The commander transmitted the message. Earth is unprepared. Their defenses are weak, but their spirit, it is strong. They will resist. The Overseer's reply came cold and sharp. Then we will break that spirit. Prepare the ultimatum. Elena, unaware of the coming storm, stayed late in her lab, her eyes fixed on the repeating signals. She felt both fear and excitement. If this was contact, it was the greatest discovery in human history. Yet something inside her whispered a warning. Be careful what you wish for. Her computer beeped suddenly. A new transmission came through, stronger than before. This time the message was unmistakable. A sequence of numbers followed by a symbol she did not recognize. She gasped. Raj leaned closer. What is it? Elena's voice was barely above a whisper. It's a countdown. Above the planet, hidden in the shadows, the Empire's ships waited. Their engines hummed softly, ready for war. The Council had made its choice, and the Overseer's voice echoed across the fleet. Earth has been marked. Humanity's time is over. And so, in the quiet darkness of space, the future of mankind hung by a thread, unaware that their world had already been targeted. The shadows over Earth grew heavier, and the first chapter of humanity's greatest struggle was about to begin. The countdown Elena discovered haunted her mind for days. She checked and rechecked the data, hoping it was a mistake. But the signals kept coming, steady and clear. Each sequence ended with the same symbol, one she could not decipher. To her, it felt like a warning or perhaps a threat. Raj tried to calm her. Maybe it's just some natural signal from deep space. You're reading too much into it. But Elena shook her head. No, Raj, nature doesn't count down. At the same time, General Aaron Cole was facing the truth in his hidden command center. Reports from satellites and observatories were piling up. Strange objects in orbit, disruptions in communication, shadows moving where nothing should be. The evidence was undeniable now. One of his officers spoke nervously. "Sir, we're receiving intercepted transmissions. They're not in any language we know, but they're structured. It's artificial." General Cole nodded grimly. "We're not alone anymore. And whoever they are, they're watching us." The weight of his words settled heavily over the room. Then it happened. The transmission came. Across the world. Televisions, radios, satellites, and even personal devices were hijacked by a sudden broadcast. Screens went black, then filled with a strange symbol, the same one Elena had seen. A voice followed, deep and cold, translated into every human language at once. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Empire. Your species has been observed. Your world has been judged. You will submit to our authority, or you will face destruction. You have one cycle of your planet to decide. Surrender or be erased." The message ended, leaving silence in its place. Panic spread across Earth. News channels replayed the message endlessly. Social media filled with fear, disbelief, and anger. Some called it a hoax. Others cried out in terror, demanding governments reveal the truth. In homes and streets, ordinary people argued and prayed. Was it the end of the world? World leaders met in emergency sessions. Governments accused one another of faking the broadcast. But soon the truth became impossible to deny. Too many signals, too much evidence. This was real. Elena watched the news from her lab. Her heart pounded. She whispered, "It's true. They're really here." Raj stared at her. "Then what do we do? If they're so advanced, we can't win." Elena clenched her fists. "Maybe not with strength. But humans don't give up, we adapt. That's who we are." In New York, the United Nations gathered in its largest emergency session in history. The world's leaders sat together, fear and tension clear on their faces. The Secretary General stood at the podium. "The message is clear. They want our surrender. But surrender means slavery, perhaps even extinction. The question is, do we unite and fight, or do we bow down?" Arguments broke out instantly. Some leaders demanded peace at any cost. Others argued resistance was the only path. General Cole stood, his voice sharp and steady. "If we surrender, we're finished. Look at history. Do conquerors ever leave freedom behind? We have one chance to fight together. Alone, we fall. United, we might stand." His words struck deep. Slowly, one by one, the leaders began to agree. For the first time in history, humanity faced a single enemy. For the first time, unity seemed possible. From that meeting, the United Earth Defense Council was born. Representatives from every nation pledged resources. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and leaders working side by side. Factories that once built cars began building weapons. Space agencies opened their technology to each other, sharing secrets once hidden. Satellites were reprogrammed. Old rivalries faded, replaced by a common cause. Elena was invited to join the council as chief scientific advisor. She was surprised at first, but General Cole had insisted. She was the first to understand the signals, Cole explained. Her mind will be needed. We don't just need soldiers. We need thinkers. Elena accepted, though fear weighed heavily on her. She was not a soldier. She was a scientist. But deep inside, she knew this was the role she was meant to play. The council met in a vast underground chamber built beneath a mountain range. Screens showed maps of Earth, images of space, and intercepted alien transmissions. Every day, new reports came in. Alien ships moving closer, strange energy readings near the edges of the solar system. Cole addressed the council. We have weeks, maybe less, before they act. Our fleets are small. Our weapons are weak compared to theirs. But we have something they underestimate, human spirit. We don't fight by rules. We don't give up, we adapt. That will be our strength. Elena added. They see us as primitive. They don't understand how creative humans are. If we can't match their power, we must use our unpredictability. That's our weapon. The council agreed. Plans were drawn. Nations began training together, preparing for the impossible war. But fear still lingered among the people. In cities, protests erupted. Some demanded surrender to save lives. Others shouted for resistance. Families prepared shelters. Pilots and soldiers volunteered, knowing they might not return. In one airbase, Captain Marcus Hale prepared his squadron. He was young, but already a skilled pilot. His men looked to him for confidence, but in private he carried his own doubts. One night he stared at the sky and whispered to himself, "We've never faced anything like this. But if we're humanity's shield, then so be it." Then another broadcast came. This time the Empire's message was harsher. You have not surrendered. This is your final warning. Submit, or suffer the consequences. The words echoed across Earth like thunder. In the council chamber, leaders stared at each other. Elena broke the silence. They're trying to break our spirit before the fight even begins. We cannot let fear rule us. We must answer them. General Cole nodded. Then let's give them humanity's answer. A message was prepared, translated into the Empire's frequency. When sent, it carried only a few words. We will not kneel. We will stand. In the darkness of space, the Empire's fleet received the reply. The Overseer narrowed his eyes. So the humans choose defiance. Then they shall learn the price. His command echoed through the alien fleet. Engines roared to life. Warships began to move, gathering at the edge of the solar system. On Earth, the Council watched as telescopes and satellites tracked the movement. Thousands of alien vessels, larger than anything humans had built, approaching slowly but surely. General Cole turned to his commanders. It has begun. Prepare every defense. This is not just about survival. It is about proving humanity's place among the stars. Elena stood beside him, her eyes filled with determination. Then let's show them what humans are made of. As the countdown continued, humanity braced itself. Nations once divided now worked as one. Factories thundered with activity. Soldiers trained day and night. Scientists pushed machines to their limits. The Earth, small and fragile against the galaxy, was preparing to fight. Above them, the stars seemed brighter, as if they too were waiting for the first clash. And so, the stage was set. The Empire had given its ultimatum. Earth had given its answer. The war for humanity's future was about to begin. The countdown ended. At first, nothing happened. People across Earth stared at their televisions, phones, and skies, waiting for disaster. Minutes passed, then hours. Some began to hope it was a bluff. But deep in space, just beyond the orbit of Mars, the Empire's fleet shifted. Their ships glowed with strange energy as they prepared to strike. The Overseer stood inside his flagship, his dark eyes fixed on the image of Earth. "Begin the demonstration," he commanded. Moments later, beams of light cut through space. They were not aimed at the planet itself, but at its lifeline, Earth's satellites. High above the atmosphere, hundreds of satellites went dark. Communication networks collapsed. Television screens across Earth flickered, then went black. Navigation systems failed. The modern world shuddered as if struck by lightning. On Earth, panic followed. Airplanes lost contact with control towers. Shipping routes were disrupted. News channels reported chaos. General Cole stood in the underground command chamber, watching red warning lights fill the screens. "They've crippled our eyes and ears," he said through clenched teeth. That was only the beginning. In the middle of the night, Elena Graves sat with the council, her face pale but steady. "This was a test," she explained. "They want us to see their power. They want us afraid. But they didn't strike the planet, not yet. That means they're still trying to break us before the full invasion." General Cole nodded. "Then we must show them fear will not work. We fight back now." The first battle would take place near the moon. Human fleets, small and fragile compared to the alien armada, moved into position. They were made of hastily modified warships, repurposed space shuttles, and a few experimental craft. Captain Marcus Hale led one of the squadrons. His ship, the Valor, was small but fast, built with experimental thrusters and reinforced armor. As he looked out at the stars, he felt the weight of history pressing down on him. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarah Lee, spoke softly through the comms. "We're outnumbered, Marcus. If they're half as strong as the reports say, we won't last long." Marcus took a deep breath. "Maybe not. But this isn't about lasting long. This is about showing them what humans can do." The Empire's first warship approached. It was massive, shaped like a blade, glowing with blue light. Its size alone dwarfed the entire human squadron. From the flagship, the Overseer gave the order. "Crush them. Show them resistance is hopeless." The alien cruiser opened fire. Beams of energy streaked across the void, striking 2 human ships. Explosions lit the darkness. Alarms filled the comms as voices screamed and cut off. Marcus gritted his teeth. "Stay focused. Scatter formation, make them chase us." The human fleet broke apart, weaving and twisting in ways the alien sensors had not predicted. The alien weapons followed, but their precision was weakened by the unpredictable patterns. Elena, watching from the defense center on Earth, held her breath. They're improvising. They're using chaos as a shield. Marcus pushed his ship to the limit. Target their engines, not their hull. If we can slow them, we buy time. His squadron fired missiles, primitive by alien standards but aimed with desperate precision. One missile struck near the cruiser's engines. The explosion didn't destroy it, but it made the giant ship shudder. Its movement slowed. On the alien bridge, the commander snarled. "How can such weak weapons cause damage?" Another alien officer hissed. "They are unpredictable. Their attacks do not follow logic." The battle raged on. Human ships were destroyed one after another, but they refused to retreat. Instead of fighting like a disciplined army, they fought like hunters, setting traps, luring the cruiser into asteroid fields, striking from unexpected angles. Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. "Now, activate the decoy drones." Small crude drones launched from the human ships, scattering into space. They emitted false signals, confusing the alien sensors. The cruiser fired at the decoys, wasting its energy. In that moment of distraction, Marcus led his squadron straight at the ship's vulnerable flank. They fired everything they had: missiles, torpedoes, even railgun slugs. The alien cruiser shook violently. Sparks erupted across its hull. Its energy shields flickered. For the first time, an alien warship faltered under human fire. Cheers erupted across the human comms, but the victory came at a cost. One by one, human ships were torn apart. Explosions lit up the dark sky above the moon. Marcus's own ship was hit. Panels sparked, alarms screamed, but he held steady. "Not yet," he growled. "We're not done yet," Lieutenant Lee shouted. "We're losing power." "We have to pull back." Marcus shook his head. "If we pull back now, they'll think we're broken. We have to show them we'll never stop." With his remaining weapons, Marcus made a daring move. He steered the Valor straight toward the alien cruiser, dodging blasts at the last second. He fired a final missile directly into a weak spot near the bridge. The explosion tore through the alien ship's systems. The cruiser faltered, its lights dimming. Then slowly it broke apart. The first alien warship to face humans had been destroyed. On Earth, the council chamber erupted in stunned silence. Then cheers filled the room. Elena smiled for the first time in days, tears in her eyes. "They did it." Against all odds, they did it. General Cole, though grim, allowed a small nod. "This is only one ship. The fleet behind it is far greater. But now the Empire knows we will not bow." In space, Marcus and his few surviving pilots drifted among wreckage. His ship was heavily damaged, oxygen low, but his voice remained strong as he spoke into the comms. "This is Captain Marcus Hale. The first battle is ours. Humanity still stands." His message was broadcast across Earth, reaching homes, shelters, and bunkers. For the first time since the ultimatum, people cheered. Fear turned into hope, but hope was fragile. In the Empire's flagship, the Overseer's eyes burned with fury. One cruiser lost to primitives. "This is unacceptable," the alien counselors whispered in unease. Some warned that humans were more dangerous than expected, but the Overseer silenced them. "They want war. Then we will give them war. Prepare the invasion fleet. Erase their defenses. Burn their spirit." Back on Earth, Elena studied the data from the battle. "We can't win by power alone," she said softly. "But if we use our creativity, if we use what makes us human, maybe we have a chance." General Cole turned to her. Then we prepare for the next strike. The Empire won't underestimate us again. The real war is only beginning. That night, as Marcus drifted in his damaged ship awaiting rescue, he gazed at the Earth rising over the moon's horizon. Blue and green, fragile yet beautiful. He whispered to himself, "For this world, for our people, we'll fight to the end." And in the silence of space, his vow carried the spirit of all humanity. The victory near the moon had given humanity hope, but the reprieve was short. Across the stars, the Empire's massive fleet gathered at the edge of the solar system. Thousands of ships, larger and more powerful than any humans had ever imagined, thrummed with energy. The Overseer's voice rang through the fleet, cold and commanding. "Humanity defied us once," he said. "That mistake will not be repeated. Prepare the final warning. Let them know the full extent of our power." On Earth, the United Earth Defense Council was already working around the clock. Satellites were being repaired where possible, communication networks restored, and new defenses deployed. General Aaron Cole addressed the council, his voice firm. "The Empire has seen our capabilities. They are not satisfied. Their fleet is approaching, and their next attack will be unlike anything we've faced. We must assume they will target major cities, power grids, and our orbital defenses. We have no time to waste." Elena Graves, standing beside him, added, "Our first battle proved that ingenuity and unpredictability can win against superior force, but they will learn quickly. We need more than bravery. We need strategy, innovation, and speed." The council members nodded in agreement. Work immediately began on Earth's hidden projects: experimental weapons, orbital defense platforms, and automated AI fleets. Every nation contributed, putting aside old rivalries in the face of a common threat. Meanwhile, in space, the Empire's final warning was prepared. Unlike the first message, this one was clear and terrifying. The fleet sent a massive broadcast visible from every screen on Earth, projected even onto the night sky as holographic warnings. The voice, deeper and more commanding than before, filled every home, every city, every settlement. "Humans of Earth, you have fought with courage, but you cannot withstand us. Surrender now, lay down your weapons, or face annihilation. This is your last warning. We will destroy all who resist." Silence followed. The enormity of the threat was clear. People across the globe froze, unable to believe the scale of the enemy. Entire fleets of alien ships capable of leveling cities hovered beyond Mars. The final battle loomed. In the council chamber, tension was high. One representative, trembling, whispered, "How can we fight them? They are billions of times stronger than us." "This is madness." Elena met his gaze. "We may be smaller, but that is exactly why we can fight. They rely on strength, power, and rules. Humans don't follow rules, they adapt, they think, they surprise. That is our advantage." General Cole stepped forward, his hand resting on a map of the solar system. "Our plan is not to match them in power. We will not defeat them with brute force alone. We will defend, we will evade, and we will strike at weak points they do not expect. Every resource we have is being mobilized. We fight for our planet, our people, and our freedom." To prepare, humans began designing new technology at an unprecedented pace. Experimental energy pulse weapons were built to disrupt alien systems. AI-controlled fleets were developed to act unpredictably, confusing enemy targeting. Massive orbital shields and decoy satellites were deployed. Elena oversaw the projects, often working late into the night. She monitored simulations of fleet movements, looking for patterns, weaknesses, anything humans could exploit. Every successful test gave hope, but every failure reminded her of the stakes. One evening, she stood with Marcus Hale, who had returned from the moon battle to help train new pilots. "We've survived the first clash," Marcus said quietly. "But the next one, it will be worse," Elena nodded. "Yes, but humans survive by adapting. That's our edge. We'll find a way, Marcus. We have to." On the surface of Earth, preparations were equally intense. Civilians were evacuated from high-risk areas. Emergency shelters were reinforced. Cities doubled as command centers, factories, and hospitals. Engineers, scientists, and volunteers worked together to transform ordinary objects into defensive tools. In one factory, automated drones were being assembled for combat. Small but fast, these drones would act as decoys and spies in space, confusing alien sensors and relaying critical information back to human fleets. Training began on every level. Pilots learned to maneuver in ways that defied traditional tactics. Soldiers trained in both conventional and improvised strategies. Civilians were taught emergency procedures, basic defense, and communication skills. Humanity prepared for war as one. Marcus Hale stood before a group of new recruits, his uniform marked by scratches and battle scars. "You may be afraid," he said, voice firm, "but fear is not weakness. It is fuel. Use it. Every trick, every move, every unexpected decision can save a life. We fight not just with machines, but with our minds and our courage." The pilots nodded, absorbing the truth of his words. Then came the day the final warning's effect was fully realized. Across the solar system, alien probes began appearing near Earth's orbital perimeter. Energy readings indicated weapons far beyond human understanding. Every fleet in the Council's simulations predicted near total destruction, but humans refused to give in. Elena directed the deployment of experimental pulse weapons, placing them on satellites and orbital platforms. "These will not destroy their fleet," she explained to Cole, "but they can disrupt their command systems. We buy ourselves time, and that time could save millions of lives." In the command center, Cole addressed the council and military leaders. "This is the last warning," he said, echoing the Empire's message back at them with determination. "They will strike, but we are ready. Not perfectly, not with all the power we wish we had, but we are ready. Humanity will fight. Humanity will survive." A hush fell over the room. Then slowly applause began. One by one, the representatives, soldiers, and scientists rose, their determination burning brighter than fear. As the hours passed, Marcus trained with his squadron near Earth's orbit. Each maneuver was dangerous, but the pilots grew more confident. They learned to anticipate the enemy, to improvise, and to exploit any weakness. "Remember," Marcus said to them, "they don't expect us to be clever. They expect us to be predictable. That's when we strike. That's when humans win." Elena worked tirelessly on the pulse weapon simulations. Nights blurred into days. She barely slept, eating little, driven by the knowledge that every second counted. Finally, after continuous tests, she announced a breakthrough. "It will work," she said to General Cole. "If we time it right, we can disable their fleet's command systems long enough to give our ships an advantage. We can't destroy them, but we can level the playing field temporarily." Cole nodded, impressed. "Then that will be our ace. Humanity will fight smarter, not stronger." By the next cycle, the Empire's fleet was visible through Earth's telescopes, a dark line stretching across the horizon of space, moving steadily toward the inner planets. The humans watching felt the weight of every life on the planet. Fear mixed with determination. The final warning had been delivered. The ultimatum was clear, but humanity had chosen its answer. Not submission, not surrender, but defiance. And in the depths of space, the Empire's commanders underestimated one truth. Humans were not just strong or fast or clever. Humans were unpredictable. Humans never gave up. Humans fought with spirit, ingenuity, and heart. On the eve of war, Marcus Hale looked at the rising Earth from his training vessel. Blue oceans, green forests, cities glittering like jewels, all of it worth protecting. Beside him, Elena monitored the pulse weapon systems. "Tomorrow everything changes," she said quietly. Marcus nodded. "Then let's make sure it changes in our favor. For Earth. For humanity." And as the alien fleet drew closer, humankind braced itself. The final warning had passed. The countdown to war had begun.